That's right.
Yeah.
And now I don't do that anymore. It's like, even when I'm done with the show and when I go home, I don't like look back and go, oh my God, why did I say that?
Right.
Even though I should. But
Or the opposite of that is if you have an event coming up and you start to go, like, I'll have a dinner on the books or something with a pal. And it'll be later in the day. I've got kids, and I'm starting to get tired. I don't want to go to dinner, so I start thinking about the dinner. And in my head, we sit down to talk, and I have the whole conversation in the dinner, and I'll literally call my friend and go, look, I've already had the dinner in my mind. I don't like how the conversation went. I'm canceling dinner. Like,
right. No, I used to meet a girl and be married. By the time I got done talking to her, I was married with 3 kids. And and literally, I at the end of it, I just should have rather said to her, I'm done with you.
She's sitting across from me on the bus. I'm like, I'm not giving her half my stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys are describing your fantasy lives.
Yes, exactly. No, but I was sitting in a meeting one day, this is years ago.
So well said by a psychiatrist, by the way.
I know, but that's what I love about him. He's like to the point.
But just sitting here listening to you and then pointing out perfectly that it's your fantasy life, Judah.
Well, or is it reality, Doc?
Yes.
What is reality?
Are we actually really sitting here, Doc?
Yeah.
Well, in some ways we are. In some ways we might be thinking of something else.
I would love to get high with you.
And the number here is 877-830-830. That's 877-830-830. You could also find us on Facebook at KLEAN Radio.
That's right.
And I think an important number to give out, and Tony had enough courage to call in and talk to us, but we do have a number here that if people are a little scared to talk on the air and they have problems, what's the number?
888-801-6040.
Can you say that again?
888-601-6040.
I think, the first time I think you said 801.
Yeah, 888
801
6040.
No, the second time you said 601.
Yeah,
I did?
6040.
Oh, whatever.
I thought you said I didn't want to drink
Call
Spider.
call the 877-830-830 and we'll hook you up.
No, but I just want to tell a quick story. A few years ago, I'm at a meeting. I see this beautiful girl. And in my mind, I have no courage to walk up to her. Like, all I could think of in my head is, why can't I just walk up to this girl? So in my mind, I create this image of a not nice person. I'm like, I'm like going, she's this, she's this, she's this. And all of a sudden, outside of the meeting, she walks up to me and she's like, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh my God. Now in my head, I'm going, she's nice, she's nice, she's nice. I sit down in my chair at the meeting. I'm like, and I realize no matter what, it's like, I'm no matter what, there's no right.
Yeah.
It's either they're this or they're that. And the reason I'm talking about this, yes, these are crazy thoughts that run through my head, but I also got sober in my early 20s, so it was almost like I was growing up. And it was terrifying.
I haven't seen that happen yet, Judah.
I know. Well,
but use those thoughts to analyze yourself, to understand what kinds of these fantasies are telling you something about yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've learned tremendous. Also, the fact that I'm not embarrassed to say them out loud.
Yes.
And I know it's a.
I'm getting nervous now.
You're going into like Yoda mode. You're like, you poured a little bit of your heart out and you took a little beat and you're like, use those feelings to it.
But you're
wow, right?
You're 92% right, and I don't say 100% anymore.
Right?
I say 92%.
Why 92?
Because I leave.
What's that 8%?
You can't give it to the die.
The 8%. The 8%'s for God.
100%.
But
don't cheat God.
so you're 92% right, and you're right. It's like when you have those thoughts, you could say to yourself, "What is wrong with the situation with me?"
Right.
Or it's how you're perceiving.
Yeah,
the
my
situation.
perceptions
I'd
are.
really like Dr. Ko to tell us what's wrong with Judah. We've
I
been trying to
just met
figure it
the
out.
guy.
We've been trying to figure it out for a long time.
I just met the guy.
Okay.
Dr. Ko's like, Dr. Ko's like, there's nothing wrong with him. He's friendly.
He's friendly.
He's verbose.
Yeah.
He's boisterous.
That's true.
Just keep using these words. We do have a call.
We do have another call. Should we take it?
When's the next break?
Jeff, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hey, you're on there. KLEAN Radio.
Hey, so I heard you guys talking about like mental health and addiction stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if I need to be sober, but I've always like had depression.
Right.
And then I got sober, but I still have depression. Like I get, I
Right.
get suicidal thoughts, but I have suicidal thoughts when I was a kid, before I even drank and used,
Right. Yeah. All your life, suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot when I was younger, I just would be like, oh, let's just end it, and everybody says it's my lack of, like, coping skills in AA, and they're like, don't, you'll be fine. You just need to trust a higher power.
You have a lot of depression
Yeah,
all your life?
I think so. I mean, I thought everything was fine, but pretty much all my life, I mean, I'm used to it. So everybody's like, you're always in a good mood, Jeff. Like, we never would know. And then I go home and I'm just like, what's the point? And then I see, like, the natural disaster and then, like, the recession. I have a good life, but I'm just like, ugh. And I'm sober, like, a minute.
How old are you, Jeff?
I'm 30.
All right, man.
What do you think, Dr. Coe?
Oh. Have you ever tried to hurt yourself?
Well, I mean, the way I use, for sure. And when I was a kid, I used to, like, get so mad that I would, like, punch myself sometimes, And then, but, once I, cut my wrist, but it didn't work, and then I passed out and clogged the tub and then almost drowned myself. But my cousins found me in the bathroom. But that was a long time ago, before I got sober.
Okay. And are you to the stage where you wouldn't do anything to hurt yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I mean,
Good.
I have Kaiser, so I have a counselor now because I have hepatitis C, and they wanted to give me treatments, but they said they can't because I was depressed. They do a thing.
Oh, right. They do. The interferon. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm on antidepressants, but
They can't do what because of the interferon?
They don't want to treat his hepatitis with interferon because it worsens depression.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
they said it's the number one side effect. So most people stop it because of the major depression. So
right.
if you're depressed, they won't even start you on it.
Yeah, it's a complex problem. But are your antidepressants working?
No, I mean, it seems like it, and then no, and then they increased them, and then all that means is I can't even, like, get my nut or anything, It's like, what's the point? That's the depressing thing is,
Yeah.
I don't want to kill myself as much, but then nothing's fun.
Hey, Jeff, let me just ask you a quick question. This might sound cheesy, but I'm sober as well. I'm 36. Like, are you just doing anything for, like, fun? Like, nothing super complicated, but are you just taking time outside of your life? Because I know for me,
Good question.
sometimes I just get bored up into my head, and I'm on the same page. If I, read the papers too much or go online, I get into this self-induced depression of, like, I get worried about all of these things. Then I start to even get more worried because I feel helpless because I can't do anything about it. And then I get this weird reverse shame and guilt. And then sometimes I just have to do something as simple as just go out for a walk. Or what I've been doing, even though I do stand up, I've just been going to comedy shows just to laugh. And I walk out of there and I feel that the weight of the world's, like, off my shoulders, I mean, are you doing anything kind to yourself?
I mean, other than, like, jacking off.
Well, you know what? That's good and bad, too. And I don't know how deep we can go in here because it's my first time on the radio.
Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to say anything
No,
crazy.
that's all right.
but
I mean, so say outside of
that's
that,
like-
any, like,
that's the only way, like, when I'm with somebody, I can't even, because of the antidepressants. But I do, I mean, I think I do stuff, but even now with the antidepressants, it's like I don't even want to do the stuff that I normally like to do. I mean, the good news is I'm not on eBay buying a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
now.
getting into other addictive stuff. You ever hear the phrase
Right.
act as if?
What's that?
Act as if, like, even though you may not want to do something good for yourself, you just act as if. So, like, for me, I've been putting on a lot of weight. So, like, what you just said, eBay is like cakes and pies and ice cream to me. I've put on like 20 pounds. It's ridiculous. I don't even like looking in the mirror. So, like, tomorrow I can tell you for sure I don't want to go walk around the track. but I know that at the end of doing that, I'm going to feel great. So I just act as if I want to do it. I don't get into a debate with myself over doing good things. I just act as if I have to do them. And then more times than not, I find myself doing them, and then I get the reward of that. I get to feel a little bit better doing good stuff, you know?
I mean, I try to do that, and then, 12 steps, like, be of service to get out of my head, and I'll feel better. And I'm always working with guys and picking them up in treatment, and then, try to go to the gym or go for a run. And then sometimes I try to do stuff, and it's like everything's a hassle. Like, I locked myself out of my apartment, and then, like, every time I try to just act as if, I find myself driving in circles and then lost and kind of just confused, and I'm just like, I just want to be home,
Well, cool, Jeff. Thanks for your call. We're going to discuss it here for now. I don't know. Jeff's, that's a complicated call. I mean, that's a typical situation where, people think they can just get sober and there aren't any other issues going on. And here's someone who obviously has a long history of major depression and suicidal ideation.
Depressed and no doubt was self-medicating. And, the suicidal ideation, I would see.
The what?
The suicidal ideation.
Thinking of suicide.
Okay.
The suicidal thoughts are really just to get some kind of relief from the pain of his depression. He has an awful depression, and I think that that motivated his alcoholism or drinking or whatever.
I think a lot of people get to the point where they feel that being miserable and being depressed or having suicidal thoughts is a normal part of life. How would you respond to somebody that said that?
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
Well, that's the old school thinking. It's like saying "suck it up."
Suck it up, right?
Yeah,
like you should
right.
just pull yourself
It's like
up by
pull
the
yourself up by the
bootstraps.
bootstraps. And I one time saw this amazing thing. It was like there's a charity in New York where, for homeless people, where they would give them free clothing so they could go on job interviews. And so this homeless lady, you're not homeless anymore. She'd, and she was part of this program. She goes, people always used to say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And she goes, if you don't have boots, you can't exactly do that. And
point.
Right? Isn't that like it was so? But it's like, and I always said the 12 steps for me, in the 12-step program were the boots. It was like I always wanted to. It's like my father would always say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I really wanted to. I really wanted to be able to focus and do all these things. I just didn't have the boots to do it.
One of the things we talk about on this show is that there's a big difference. There are 12-step help programs. We all know what they are. There's a bunch of different ones.
A lot.
There's, it's not just AA. There's Rational Recovery and SOS, and there's.
What's SOS? I know what SOS is, but I mean as a program.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember. It's just another one. I think it's one of these more,
like Chick and
non-higher
Shickle.
Power. Like Chick and
Shickle. That thing
hey, it works for somebody, so I'm not going to criticize it too much. But then there's this, whole issue of, there are actually psychiatric interventions that can occur that are not. What's the difference, in your opinion, Dr. Coe, between, a residential treatment and a medical intervention and a 12-step sort of self-help program?
I want to go back a second to what Judah was saying. Is
Okay.
he wanted to get the boots. There's a catchphrase that's real popular now, and that is giving people the right tools,
Right.
to help themselves, and that's where it comes down to figuring out what are the proper tools for that particular person to solve their problems. And, there are a lot of ways to skin the cat. And
Someone, though, that has a long history of suicidal ideation, depression, do you think a self-help program alone is going to do it?
No, certainly not. No. Somebody with a serious mood disorder who's self-medicating, their mood disorder's got to be treated.
Now, one of the things I do love about the 12-step, 12-step groups is they should be, in the literature, encouraging that. Basically saying if this isn't enough, please seek outside help.
Typically, they don't, though.
Well,
that's what Bob Forrest was
that's
saying.
the major problem because
3,
if
right?
where it all comes from, with the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, in the literature it actually says that. It says if this isn't enough, you please go seek outside. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it does ask you to do that.